All right, I am back with another Outriders video. Yes, it's 2 in a row. Should Destiny be nervous? I don't know. Gonna have a new main game soon. No, it seems like Outriders is never going to be a main game because it has a pretty, I think, definitive ending as opposed to Destiny, the forever game. So I don't think it's going to replace anything long term, even if I am enjoying it more. And it may not be this disastrous looter shooter launch that we've seen so many others. But it's going to be worth covering for a period of time, whether that's weeks or months or whatever. And here I'm keep finding new stuff to talk about with the demo, even though I've pretty much maxed out the extent of what I can do from the demo, other than farming for legendaries, which has been something of an interesting experiment. And the question I get when I bring this up is, why are you farming a demo? Like, what is the point of that? There's a couple reasons. First, my original goal was to get a lot of the legendary weapons, or as many of them as I could, and test them out and kind of write about them to see what some of the higher end loot at least felt like, even if it's early levels here. The second reason is that progress carries over from the the demo to the main game, which comes out in a month. And well, yeah, all these are going to be stuck at like level 9 when the max is, I think for gear, it's level 50. The the way the loot system works, at least is how it's been explained by Outriders, is that you can dismantle lower legendary gear for some of the rarer mod components in it, and then you can slot that into any level gear. So if you have like a really cool effect or something, that can scale kind of all the way through the game. So at least in theory, if it's going to work like they say it will, that means the drops you get now could potentially contain valuable mods that you can extract when the game is live to use in future gear. So technically, you're not doing it just for purely no reason. I am, however, kind of about to give up because the drop rates are just Evie. Is this your new entrance? Are you going to do this every video? Yeah. Okay. I know everyone loved that last time, but she's running later and later each video. You got to be on time, Evie. Anyway, there are 2 farms I'm doing right now. They're both very boring and simple, but it's kind of a relaxing loop. I'm just enjoying. Evie is just going crazy. So that's fun. You got your sloth? Okay. One is just running around opening chests. There's a loop kind of near the final boss where you spawn into that story mission, and then you can get to anywhere from 3 to 5 chests in 60 to 90 seconds, open them all, get the loot, reload it, and keep doing that. The more action-oriented one is one I wrote about today, where in a side mission, there's a captain who spawns, and you can burn him down really quick and see what he drops, and then kill yourself, and then keep reloading in. All of these sources are supposed to be able to get legendaries, and like, even though I've heard mixed things about like them patching drop rates and stuff, every time I post about that, people are like, "Oh no, here's the 2 legendaries I got within 5 minutes of each other, like just now." So apparently they're still out there. I've gotten 1 legendary total in my entire playthrough across PC and console, and that was in my very first run of Pyromancer, like just at the end chest of a side mission, and I've not gotten any since. So I'm starting to question if they have been patched out or not. But every time I bring it up, people say they're still there. But I have kind of come up with a system where I've built out my Trickster to kill that 1 captain as fast as humanly possible. Like, I could not burn this guy down faster. I do my warp blade, I do my time bubble, I do my super time ammo, and I use an auto shotgun, which are just crazy, and he melts instantly. And then I repeat. And through doing this, I have gotten pretty much all the blue drops I could ever hope for. I'm doing the... You need to see what she's doing. Evie, you directly behind me, so I can't show you. Okay. You were on your back being funny, and then you righted yourself. Sorry, that was a letdown. On the chest one, I'm doing the Devastator because it doesn't involve combat and you can just open chests. But what I'm finding I like about Outriders is not just the kind of mechanics of the farm. It's that it's kind of just I think I find it relaxing to farm mindlessly for a long period of time. I always have, and it reminds me of Diablo in that way. But it also reminds me of Diablo just in terms of how gearing is going so far. And the way you can when we've seen early betas and alphas for most other loot shooters, there's always kind of a caveat where it's like, okay, like is the action fun? Like is the story intro okay? But you can never really judge the loot to any real extent because in those tests there is barely ever a time where you really get significant loot that does anything. Like think about the first few hours of Diablo or Borderlands or Anthem or Destiny. Like think about the drops you got, and like they're almost all just explicitly terrible and do nothing except give you like kind of the core basics of combat. Outriders is different because as soon as you start getting blue drops, whether that's for weapons or armor, you start getting those mods I talked about. Evie, don't squeak your toy. You start getting those mods I talked about, and right away you can already see how they are heavily influencing your build. A blue drop at like level 7 can just give you a double charge of your like earthquake move, or you can get a chest plate that creates a bleed effect that pulses out from your body every 6 seconds or something like that. The Trickster class, I got all these ones to upgrade my warp bubble, so it's like 3 meters bigger than normal, which is quite big, and it inflicts weakness on people inside of it. The auto shotgun I got has better crit damage, and then I got something that increases the crit damage of my time slowing ammo by 30%, which is another reason I'm burning through that guy. And like you can already make builds, like very simple, easy builds, but you can make builds in the demo and kind of test them out and see how they perform. And it's, you're not, again, we're 2 points into the skill tree, which is like a massive thing. We can get, if you're lucky, you'll get 1 or 2 or 3 legendaries in this entire demo to test those out, which are stupidly overpowered for the content we have right now. And there's no legendary sets and things like that in the game yet. And yet, like, you can already kind of get a sense of where this is going. And to me, this really feels like Diablo 3's system where, at least with legendaries, I mean, they're not even doing it with legendaries, they're doing it with rares. And like, there's rare, epic, and legendary in Outriders, and they're doing it, at the blue level class, which is kind of crazy. And you get more mods and more slots as you go up that chain. But you can already see it's the same. It's like a legendary or exotic effect that modifies your skill in a way that would be like a much higher quality item. So what I'm getting at is like you can see how the complexities of this are going to interact as you really get to the higher levels and really can start to build out, all these different skills. And again, we've only unlocked not even half the skills yet too. So I am impressed with the depth that I am starting to see here and the fact that I can test it out to some extent in the demo alone. Legendary farm aside, like drop rates aside, I'm not going to complain about drop rates in a demo. Like, it's my fault if I want to stupidly farm a demo for 40 hours to get 1 legendary drop. There are 10 other world tiers above this that will dramatically increase legendary rates. So we'll see how it goes in the final product here. But I think the demo has done a very good job showing off the potential of builds and at least the philosophy behind kind of where this is going. And that's something you couldn't really see from early tests of all these other looters. And some looters don't get it right, even in the end game. Like it's, how many looters have gotten loot right, like right away? And pretty much none of them. There's been constant patches and adjustments and things and like that you had to do after the fact and after launch and after fan complaints. And well, I'm not saying Outriders is absolutely definitely going to get it right like instantly. That's probably not going to happen fully, but I am saying what is being shown here is surprisingly coherent and really echoes kind of a very strong core design philosophy that I can really immediately understand, and that reminds me of one of the best in the genre, Diablo. The entire kind of farming, like mostly single player, but also co-op, no PvP, like running kind of Rift-like activities, gear sets, legendaries with these specific affixes, these mods that essentially act as runes and gem modifiers. It's all very similar in a way that is fun, especially once you learn the core combat loop, which I taught you in my last video, which is to never use cover pretty much for any reason, because that's when the game actually starts being fun. But all of this is added up to something that I am really curious to try more of. I know I've kind of reversed myself from my initial impressions here, but what I've learned to do is kind of just let go of the aesthetics. Like, these legendary guns are some of the ugliest weapons I have ever seen in a video game, but it is very fun to shoot the guns in this game. It's fun to use the powers. I'm going to let that go for now. I'll let the aesthetics go. I need to see more levels. I'll let the story go, because Lord knows if we're comparing it to Diablo 3, that didn't exactly have the best base campaign story either. So these things I'm letting go of until I can see more of the final product. I don't really expect to be blown away by the final story of Outriders, but who knows? We'll see. But fundamentally, as long as it's fun to play, as long as farming feels good, and as long as I don't need to play it as much as Destiny over the course of the year, every year, that all sounds good to me, and things are off on a pretty strong start here. We'll see if I can get my hands on any legendaries. Maybe I'll do a testing video if these ever manage to drop. I have over a month, or pretty much exactly a month, to farm all these and blend that with my current roster of other games I'm playing. I am probably going to take a break soon because it's getting a little a little tedious to do these like 30-second farm loops over and over again, even if they can be somewhat relaxing, but we'll see. I'll probably post something on Twitter if I actually get a drop of me celebrating. For now, I hope you guys try it out and enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it, play Trickster and don't use cover. It's going to be hard to not enjoy it using that, so just trust me on that. And yeah, I will see you guys next time.